Hi Brollies, Marvin here from TechBroll.com, where we do unboxings, reviews, and sexy b-rolls. And today we're going to do an unboxing and first impressions of yet another new smartphone from Realme's new 7 series lineup. I'm talking about the new Realme 7, a smartphone that features the world's first Mediatek Helio G95 processor, partnered with a 90Hz display and backed up by a 5000 mAh of battery and 30 watts dart charge technology. In this video, we'll take a look around this new smartphone and see if the specifications meet your requirements. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright guys, like the new Realme 7 Pro that I unboxed a few days ago, which by the way you can check out here, and every smartphone that came before this, the packaging is the same yellow box with some branding, key features, and variant. And for the sample that we have right here, we have the Mist Blue 8GB of RAM, 128GB of ROM variant. Upon opening the slide-up type box, we're greeted by the same yellow accessory box that has a couple of items inside. Inside it, we have a couple of paperwork, and of course, we have a free smoke gray jelly case. This is actually quite important since most of the time, it's kinda hard to find a casing for newly released smartphone like this. Now, tucked inside the accessory box is the SIM ejector pin, and then after that, we have the Realme 7 smartphone itself, but let's move it to the side first as we take a look at the rest of the package contents. Now, removing this thin cardboard cover reveals the 30-watt dart charge power brick that, as per specifications, can charge this phone to 100% in just 65 minutes. And lastly, we also have here the USB Type-C charging cable. And that's about it for the unboxing experience. Now, let's take a look at the new Realme 7. At first look and touch, the front looks almost exactly the same as the Realme 7 Pro, with relatively thin bezels, sleek curved corners, and a very clean design except for the punch hole cutout for the selfie camera. In terms of the display, we have a Full HD Plus 2400 by 1080 resolution, 405 pixels per inch density, brightness levels of up to 480 nits, skin-to-body ratio of around 90.5%, and of course, 90Hz refresh rate. And even though the display is not AMOLED, it is still pretty decent, and as you can see, colors are quite vibrant with decent contrast in details, and in terms of brightness, it can go as low as this, and as bright as this up to again 480 nits. Again, we have a punch hole cutout here to make way for the 16-megapixel selfie camera. We also have a subtle cutout here for the earpiece, and like any other smartphone from Realme, it also has a pre-applied screen protector. Now, flipping it on the top side, we don't have anything here. And then on the other side, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, the microphone, a USB Type-C port, and the single downward firing speaker. Flipping it on the left side, we have the SIM card tray that supports dual nano SIM cards and a micro SD card. We also have here the two dedicated volume buttons, and unlike the 7 Pro, the chamfered edges on this one are more subtle, giving it this sort of curved design profile. Now, turning it on the other side, we have the power button that also doubles as a fingerprint sensor, which is actually quite fast, accurate, and more reliable than any in-display fingerprint reader. Now, looking at the back, as I wipe it down to reveal its true beauty, what we have here is the Mist Blue variant with a sort of mirror design much like the Realme 7 Pro. It has this two-sided design element that mimics that mirror design with a compact disc reflection that reacts to lighting differently depending on the angle. The texture and finish are somewhat in the middle between matte and glossy finish. Now, it is still kinda fingerprint magnet, but not that visible compared to a completely glossy glass back. Here at the back, we also have the second generation 64-megapixel Sony IMX6A2 quad camera setup, which features a 64-megapixel main camera, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide angle lens, 2-megapixel black and white portrait lens, and a 2-megapixel macro lens, and of course, we have an LED flash to go along with that. Overall, in terms of design and construction, it is pretty much on par with the quality Realme has set with a clean and sleek design in front, and with a wow factor at the back partnered with a relatively fingerprint-resistant texture. Almost all the Realme smartphones that I've tried so far feature some kind of fingerprint-resistant design element, even those models that are quite shiny and reflective like this one. Not to mention that we always get a free jelly case. Now, going back in front in terms of the user interface, well, there's not much to talk about here, as I'm pretty sure most of you are already familiar with the Realme UI version 1.0, since there's still no significant update here. With that being said, Realme UI again is one of the lightest skin that I've tried so far for Android, and is close to a stock Android experience without much bloatware or pre-installed apps. And with some decent hardware inside, especially having 8GB of RAM, browsing through the user interface is quite smooth. Speaking of hardware, let's talk about that. Now, driving the Realme 7 is the world's first Mediatek Helio G95 processor, with a Mali G76 GPU, 8GB of RAM, and a substantial 128GB of internal storage. Now, aside from that, the Realme 7 also features a display with an up to 90Hz refresh rate, allowing you to browse through the user interface more smoothly, and of course, it also applies for games and other applications that supports it. Now, here's the thing guys. What's weird to me here is the fact that the Realme 7 Pro features a Super AMOLED display, but with only a 60Hz refresh rate panel, while this Realme 7 features a 90Hz high refresh rate, but only using an IPS LCD panel. I guess we cannot have the best of both worlds in a single model for this series. So if you think about it, if you're more of a mobile gamer, then of course go for the Realme 7 for higher frame rates. Otherwise, consider the 7 Pro for better display and charging capability. But don't worry, as we'll discuss everything on the full review of both of these phones, so make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. And there you have it guys for the unboxing experience and my first impressions about the new Realme 7. In the full review, expect a focus on gaming experience with thermal testing, performance benchmarks, camera test, and everything in between. So again, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Huge thanks to Realme for sending this in, and make sure to watch the official livestream launch of the Realme 7 series on September 30 on Realme's official Facebook page. Thank you for watching, again subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.